All right, so I just made a drama blog. It is February the 4th, 2021, in Oroville, California. It is 10:25 p.m. and I wanted to do a book vlog. So I'm not sure. I'm going to do some more book vlogs, but I'm going to talk about graphic novel. This graphic novel right here by Frank Miller. It's a really great book. I think it's kind of different because it's his art is not as clean, but so man, this camera doesn't turn around. Okay, so let's see. So he works with Lynn Varley, and I'm not even sure if that's gonna be backwards. So, and she's the colorist, and he's doing most of the art. So I wanted to give props because I'm actually currently working on my own comic book art stuff, and this is kind of in a vein of science fiction and kind of like ancient myth. So it's a little different actually for his work. His work is normally more, it's kind of, ninja fighting, even superhero stuff, but he actually ventures out and does these kind of historical kind of books. So I don't know if this one was, I don't know where this fits in his portfolio, but it's interesting because the color, it's 80s in the 80s, so I think it's before The Dark Knight, but it's really Matrixy, Terminator style story. I read it a while ago. I haven't really sat down and reread it, but it's pretty ahead of its time, and it was right during RoboCop kind of story, which actually he ended up writing RoboCop, a couple of RoboCop movies. So, but I like it. This even goes a little further than RoboCop. Not much further. RoboCop's pretty heavy. So he kind of makes fun of like his Marvel work sometimes with his characters, but he's amazing as far as like Quentin Tarantino. He kind of hits nerves of here's an action sequence. So how he breaks down the borders. I might go through this book to talk about panels and storytelling and whatnot, but really it's just right here I'm just talking about the book itself and his work particularly. This book particularly, but his overall body of work. Because you got literature, and I've always been an advocate of graphic novels and art being literature as well, in a higher form. And this guy actually is a good representative of comic book, graphic novel art form as literature. You know, moving the kind of bastardized as far as like being movies and novels, but it actually predates both of those forms of communication. If you take it back to the hieroglyphics, so that's kind of where I'm bringing that to. Not really the same as hieroglyphics, because that's a little different. That goes into like murals and, you know, the written word and whatever. So, but it is, for today's world, you know, it is a mixture of visuals and written language. So, so yeah, the art form itself is, guy's good. I recommend this book for the heavy readers. There's a few other books of his that are more light reading for Frank Miller. Okay, so I wanted to do that. This goes in the book vlog. Just want to do my paintings too. I'm going to do a little blog about my paintings. What else? Oh, so the guy, let's talk a little bit more about this. So the guy is a Ronin. What the Ronin is a Japanese character that loses his master, right? So this is, I didn't even know anything about that concept till I read this book. So that's what Ronin is, and so it's kind of like about magic. So this is actually, I'm pretty sure they got Samurai Jack from this story, whether they did it on purpose or you know, with his consent, or did it on their own, which I love Samurai Jack, so. But I didn't realize till I looked at this book again, and the guy fights this ancient monster entity that I think is trying to take over the world or something, and so he has a sword that can kill him, and so there's like and then so he ends up in a current body of an invalid that's connected to the computer, a supercomputer that is experimental. So the government or some corporation is booted up a new AI that has this invalid guy there, and I think he's part of like running the system, but he ends up like so this girl, I think she's like hired by the corporation to be the security, so she ends up in the story as well, and they end up like hooking up. He ends up like getting a body, and then becoming the samurai and searching for this entity, and then she ends up going along with this story and like finding out that she like likes this guy. And this future world that they're in is pretty heavy in RoboCop land or whatever. So they have like a lot of crime and all this stuff outside of this hive that they're creating. And so he ends up on the outside, and then he's connected to this, I think his name's Billy, and so they end up like becoming one somehow. But at his adventures on the outside world is he ends up fighting a lot of people and, you know, killing some people, and then she ends up like all in love with them. But he's really like a Tron robot kind of thing going on. And so somehow she ends up part of like his world in Samurai Land. But they end up fighting robots. And so it's heavy on sci-fi, but the story itself is pretty wordy and, you know, loose. The art is very loose. But you can see his style of how he tells stories, you know, which is really good because he's one of the writer, drawer guys that, you know, created his own way of telling a story, you know. Uses a lot of small panels and dialogue. So it has his own Quentin Tarantino, predates Quentin Tarantino, but, you know, this guy influenced a lot of director, movie people, comic book artists, and painter, everybody, you know, he influenced a generation of people of artists in all genres, and most, even, you know, probably music as well. So it goes even to the, I don't know if that's a nuclear bomb or what that is. Guy is good. So I recommend this book, and that's it.